Welcome back to the final leg of our trip. It's going to be probably pretty similar to the last leg of the trip, with the difference being shorter time over the sea and more exploration, this time of Kauai, which is nice because we haven't been there yet. And then we'll go back to Oahu for our completion of the journey. And I'm excited to cross this one off the bucket list, not bucket list, just the list. I didn't realize that it was going to take as much time as it did. I know it says, you can see in the bottom corner, it says it takes about 7 hours to complete. But for some reason, I didn't think that that would take as long to go through as it did. And I didn't expect to be behind the estimated time a little bit. I expected to be in front of it. So I was like, oh, I'll be in front of each one, and that'll get down to, 5 hours. We could probably do that in 2 days. Split it up in half. But we are not flying nearly as fast as anticipated. But either way, this has been some good fun. I still maintain the criticism from the end of our last flight, where that previous flight was just too long, and it was because you can see here we start in the middle at Oahu. I don't think there's a good way to do that at Oahu. I think if you want to start in the middle, you start on Maui, go to the big island, go to the smaller islands, then to Kauai, and then you still have to come back. But either way, it should have just been a straight line from start to finish. Anyway, here we are already at the runway. Let's just go ahead and take to the skies here. Once again, we're not going to need a VRF map on the HUD, but let's just go over the navlog. Alright, so according to the navlog, we're looking at a pretty straightforward trip here. Let's go ahead and start bringing the throttle on, pull that parking brake off as we start to move forward. But it's going to very much follow the trend that we've already seen. We're going to be making a path around the island here, along the coast, checking out the sights. And then we will fly over the water to Oahu, where this journey comes to an end. Getting a little bit of wind or something out. I didn't check what it said pre-flight, but I've got to hold this right rudder pedal in order to keep us steady. Let's get a little bit of extra speed here. Whoa! We're gonna have to deal with this wind as we take off. Oh, not so bad at all. Oh, as I let go of the rudder, though, it really sent us. So let's wait to get a little bit more over. Let's check our, yeah, definitely got some flaps up. And now let's let go of that rudder pedal, let it straighten out. Whoa! Whoa, we must be in some weird windy conditions here. Wow, okay, so that was the scare of the flight, or the whole trip, rather. Whoa, we are just... Look at, why are we flying so sideways here? What is going on? We need elevation, but we do not have the speed. What is this, a trim problem? We gotta fly our way out of this. This is getting bad. I can't even turn. What is happening? We are flying sideways. Wait, our rudder is stuck. Look at it. Okay. You you can see our rudder. So we need to figure out, I've never adjusted that trim before. I've never adjusted rudder trim. You know what? This is weird. Okay. Well, we finally figured out, okay, let's see, what is straight here? It's too much, it's too little. Alright, so this will fly as straight. Straight enough. Man, that is really frustrating. Oh, that was parking brake. There we go. I don't think... Oh, okay. Trying to diagnose the problem here, but not finding a solution. You know what, we're gonna have to go to Google for this one. So, Google while we're flying. Whoa. What is going on? Oh, I'm just seeing other people having a similar problem. There is no rudder trim. And so we're just... So this is a failure. Like a part failure. They mentioned it was going for inspection during this flight. So I think I'm gonna just have to deal with this. Alright, let's see. We took off from here. Alright, so we need to just turn around, because there's no way we're going to be sightseeing like this. So we need to save ourselves here. This is turning into an emergency flight. We can't go sightseeing like this. This is too dangerous. What we're going to do is turn around, catch up with the flight plan that is behind us. We're going to get back on course with it. And we are going to steer ourselves back to Oahu and try to get this plane on the ground. In Oahu. Try to complete the mission as best we can, but there's no way we can go sightseeing like this. We will just be in constant failure of stalling. So I'm going to try to get some elevation. And we can pretty much just try to go straight at this point. So I'll do my best just to get ourselves up in elevation a little bit. And we are slowly but surely going up. But so I've got the yoke pushed in, cocked to the right, and I've got my right foot on the rudder pedal. So all of these things are just kind of leaning, or just static. static holds in these positions, and it's a little frustrating. But there is no real solution for this. Let's get back into the other camera mode real quick and see what we can see back here to straighten this up as much as possible. There we go. So about there is where I need to be to keep that straight back there. Which is deeper than I had it, which is slightly annoying. It's tempting just to bring it back in for a landing at the airport and seeing if restarting the computer and restarting the sim does it, but it does feel like this is a bit of a failure. And quite frankly, if I had this failure in real life, I probably would land a plane and not just go fly over the ocean. So it feels maybe stupid to even try this. Maybe we should just take it down for the landing and call it that, or redo it then. But I do kind of like the challenge of getting this plane limped home. Alright. Get a little bit of sightseeing done here on Kauai. Gotta use both hands on the yoke, otherwise arms are gonna get so tired. You know what? I gotta bring this in for a landing, don't I? While we're here. You know what? No. We're gonna limp this one through. We're limping it back. To shore. It is not going well. So this is going to take over an hour. Let's just make the turn. Let's make the turn. Let's start flying over the ocean. We'll meet up with the flight plan still. Save us our time. Save us some time. Pull up our VFR map just to confirm. Yeah, we'll eventually run straight into it. Set our heading. Let's see what autopilot does. See, when I let go of everything, they crash. Okay, turn off. I gotta turn this all off. Wait, autopilot on, off. Flight director off. Off. Okay, so lesson learned. rudder, so that's about straight. So yeah, lesson learned with that. Don't, autopilot will not help us in this situation. Just gotta keep our foot planted. Oh, can we already see Oahu through the clouds? Or am I just seeing what we could refer to maybe as a mirage? Or just ocean? But I don't think we would be able to see anything yet. I wonder what's gonna happen skipping point to point. I wonder if it's going to allow us to save once we get to the final destination, having skipped all of the waypoints in between. Probably not. But we have an emergency. And quite frankly, the alternative is just canceling the whole flight. And quite frankly, that's not a good video. So we gotta at least go for it. And the thing is, it's kind of working. Like, we're moving. We're going like 100 knots. We're gaining altitude. I've got control over the aircraft. Like, this would have been awful to navigate along the coastline of all of Kauai. But to get us to Oahu, this is doable. I wonder how long it's going to take us. Let's see, let's check our rudder. We strained it out pretty much. You can tell when you've got it right because your speed starts to increase. Start climbing a little bit. Okay, so you can just see now in the corner of our handy dandy Garmin computer there on our nav, you can see the flight plan coming in from the other line, bringing us to our final destination. So we have cut off everything but the final step here, which definitely makes this a shorter video, makes this a shorter series. We didn't really get to see everything. But I do think that this is the best alternative. To limp back to Oahu is better than to not record a video. I think it's better than restarting, just because it feels more authentic. I don't know, it seems more fun to deal with a failure than it does to just pretend like it never happened. I'm curious why. I'm curious to see if this is a failure, like an in-game failure. I wouldn't think that those would be possible in this in the activities mode, and to have like a rudder failure specifically like this where it just is stuck to one side. But it is specifically mentioned in the nav log that this plane is going in for inspection, like we're bringing it for inspection in Oahu when we land. So that's a little curious if that's a planned part of the series, and if I'm supposed to complete the trip with the broken rudder. So yeah, we're giving ourselves a little bit of a challenge. It's cool because we're crossing the ocean still, so there's definitely that risk and reward. And yeah, now we're just cruising back to Oahu though. And I think the landing should be straightforward. I think the same thing is going to be true. I just have to hold my foot at this same level. And I think if I can do that, it'll keep it straight on the approach and as we land. So just crossing 6,000 feet. Really just making tiny, like millimeter-sized movements with my right foot has a huge effect on our speed and elevation changing. Oh, it looks like we're saving, so something's taking notes with something. It's keeping track of something somehow. But no island yet on our nav screen in front of us. Maybe it's just because our heading is a little bit off because we are not yet back on our flight plan. Let's go ahead and straighten out the plane a little bit. I feel like, though, we could probably get ourselves a little bit more straightened and a little bit more of a gentle angle of approach on our nav. This is a little frustrating to have to fly against with the yoke slightly pushed in order to not just make it go up in the air and stall like crazy with my right foot pushed in to that very specific point that's not all the way. And so this is just a taxing flight in a crossing that I already wasn't looking forward to. It looks like I can see Oahu on the instrumentation, just barely on the horizon to the left, underneath my speedometer, or speed indicator. Probably don't call it a speedometer in an airplane. But, so yeah, just barely seeing it on our instrumentation now, not visually in sight yet. Looking forward to that happening. Hopefully that means we're just a breath hold away from being in sight visually, and then from there we can locate the airport and bring this puppy down, not having crashed into the ocean. Having a little bit harder of a time keeping ourselves straight here. Losing a little bit more control of the car. It seems like it's shifting on us, where like randomly all of a sudden I need to push further or ease up a little bit if I want to be on center, and it seems like it's shifting a little bit on what that place is. So I've been going on and off course a little bit here, as you can see. Been trying to control those random outbursts that it's been having. But at this point, we are in the middle of the ocean. We are committed to this decision we've made. We got to make it to Oahu. Otherwise, this has been a fatal flight that we have undertook on. We have, Jesus. This is a dangerous flight we've undertaken, if not. Ooh. I have yet to totally regain control of the aircraft. Things are still changing pretty rapidly on us. Random jerking about movements like this, and leading us way off course. Is that a hurricane or something? It's like pulling us in towards it. And really having a difficult time here keeping it in the lines. Very jerkiness. That adjustment will do something. But we are losing feet now. At least lost 1,000 feet at this point. Still really not able to keep a line going where we're envisioning it. We can only get really close to that, which makes me a little bit nervous for this landing. we should be heading right in. Now we're getting to the point where these flight plans are about to converge again, which means we are very close. The island getting bigger on our instrumentation yet again. Not quite in our nav instrumentation. And as you can see, we are in the middle of a cloud right now, so I'm not going to be able to tell you if I can see Oahu yet in front of us, but I have high hopes that when we get to a clear patch of sky, we should be able to see it from the sky here and cross over to no, our eventual landing point will be before this side of Pearl Harbor, I think. So let's see, as we come out of the clouds here, I can't quite see anything, I don't think, conclusive at this point. Let's check our rudder again. Foot is straight, gotta go a little bit more forward. Let's get ourselves back on track. Alright, now that's closer, pointing in the right direction. But it looks like we might just have to fly this a little bit cockeyed, which is pretty frustrating. But again, it's a signal that we're almost done. We are going really fast right now. I'm not sure how we're descending. We've lost a lot of feet. We almost lost another 1,000 feet right there. So maybe when we get on the other side of this giant cloud, we'll be looking at some land. That would make me feel a little bit more at ease with this whole thing. That's me with the yoke pushed all the way in. Looks like just more cloud coverage. So far, no island directly in front of. Well, maybe I just spoke a little bit too soon. Maybe I'm just looking at the end of it there on the left-hand side, about 11:30. Yeah, I think I am looking at land through that cloud. Man, this plane is all over the place right now. Now, like just moments ago when I pointed out I was having to push the yoke all the way in just to keep it flat. Now, no matter what I do, it's just trying to take off. Flying cockeye again. Kind of. Oh, I'm just really looking forward to getting to Oahu. Let's get this plane off my hands. I think this is what they might refer to as a death machine. Yoke all the way in and they're still accelerating or gaining elevation, climbing. There we go, it stopped, and now the second I let go and it instantly wants to do like a 360, or not even a 360, it wants to do a loop-de-loop. thought that was a big portion of land, but that was just a big portion of shadow. We're still a little bit cockeyed to the point where we're not looking at land clearly. And again, the cloud coverage. What's going on? Oh, I just can't wait for this flight to be over. This is a very tedious driving position or flying position, and I really can't wait to not have to be in it anymore. I think we're getting pretty close at this point. I remember this crossover pretty much happened right over the coastline, and I think I recall this airport that we're going to just on the other side of the coast, of the shore, in fact. So I think it's possible here that we're looking at, oh, gotta check my rudder here. I think it's possible that we're looking at finally being close to the runway here. This has been a real slog. And then I'm excited because this is getting wrapped up quickly, and we were able to handle this failure of whatever it be, whether it be hardware calibration or whether it be actual plane failure in game. When we get closer to the airport, I will let go of my right pedal, and we'll show you what happens if I try to fly straight. I mean, we saw it at the beginning what happens if I try to fly straight, but just as a final example of why I've spent this entire time, about 50 minutes now, flying like this. Let's try to get our way back to the flight plan. As we approach the cross in the flight lines, it is pretty much over the coast, and I think it is around that point where we can start worrying about bringing it down towards the airport and start looking for that visual reference of traffic control towers or whatever we need to see the airport. And hopefully that this is counting as the legs, or completing the legs of the trip in front of us, even though we skipped a bunch of them. Just because it would be a shame to have to go back and redo everything for the completion. And I don't think I played a role in the failure, in the part failure, in the plane failure. I think it's that airport. I think I'm seeing it now directly in front of me, like literally straight ahead. Let's pull up our nav log and get a scroll down and we can see an image. So it's not quite on the coast, which I think is a bingo. Could be further, and we're not taking accurate notes here with our nav log or headings or timings or anything like that. So really the best thing I have to do is just continue to follow this line. Let's not make anything too soon here, but as soon as possible I will be bringing this plane down as quickly as we can. I think at this point I would have called in well, I mean, if this was real life, we would have taken off. Well, if this was real life, we would have noticed the rudder failure during takeoff. And then aborted the flight, you know, before it even happened, before we even left the ground. But if we did happen to get in the air, figure out the problem, after we took off, we would have just turned around immediately. Rudder failure, no discernible control over rear rudder, we would have been able to probably land wherever we wanted as immediately as we wanted. So let's pretend like I called over the air traffic control and told them that we have a failure and that we need to land as soon as we get in. And I guess in real life we'd probably be in pretty close communication, constant contact with them, giving them updates as we limp our way to the airport. We would probably land as quickly as we can, but given that we want to complete this mission, we have to land at a specific landing zone. So once we get to that airport, we can just touch down. Not exactly sure how much of the flight we have left. I'm hoping not too much. Descending very quickly, gaining speed very quickly. There we go. Coming through the cloud gives us a nice close-up look here. Let's bring down the throttle a bit because I've got a feeling we're going to be looking at that airport when we get through this cloud. Let's bring the flaps down one level as well. Let's start working on a very cautious descent here. So far, nothing on our nav indicates this is our landing zone, but just considering we do have this defect in our flying ability right now, we gotta be very, very cautious about our descending. Let's see, are we looking at an airport yet? I don't think so. Oh, yep, there it is, there it is. That must be it. So we're going to approach that runway that is straight ahead of us, like we're landing there, and unless we see otherwise from our nav, that is where we are putting this bird down on the ground. It's weird because I have to, I'm already, I don't know, I don't have the control right now that I would like. Yep, that is confirmed our landing spot, so that is confirmed for sure the runway we are going to smack down on. Getting a little fast here, but I can deal with that pretty well. What I can't deal with pretty well is where we'll be vertically. So I'm trying to just really keep an eye on that as much as I can. I feel pretty comfortable with where we're at 1400, but I'd like to get us down lower, obviously. Just can't do it too quickly because I don't know what kind of control I'm going to have at the lower level, so I think we're going to try to hold right about here at 1,000 feet for a while. Oh, a little bit of lag, and I think we lost a bunch of elevation in the process of that. Yeah, I think we lost 100 feet in that, or 1,000 feet rather. No, I'm sorry, 100 feet in that moment right there. All right, we're approaching pretty smoothly, but we're not lined up perfectly yet, so let's get ourselves lined up a little bit better. Our speed has come down a lot as we've flattened out. We're going to come down a little bit more. Landing lights still all lit up for us, nothing red, so we're coming in just fine. But yeah, so at this point, air traffic control would know that we have a failure on board, and that landing is going to be a little bit of a difficulty. And this is going to a hangar for inspection, so it looks like off to the right here. Or really any one of them. I think we're probably just going to land it and call it a show, depending on what I see from these hangars. Alright. Just at this last moment here, we're going to put some more flaps down to slow us down as much as we can. We are right over the runway, over the numbers now. Just gotta be very much in control here. And bring down the throttle. Should have done that way earlier. There we go, we touched down. A little bit of a skip. Alright, now we just gotta find our taxiway. I feel like we can limp this one back to an approved taxiway here. It looks like we'll be going right or left though. So for me, that just means letting off of this one rudder. Yeah, it seems like all my rudder control went to one pedal, because letting go of it completely is full left rudder. So this is looking like it could be a hardware issue on my end with my pedals. Oh, where the fuck am I going? Where the fuck am I going? Oh, I completely have lost the plot. I just saw trucks and went that way. So this isn't good. Let's get back on this runway, even though that is kind of an awful option to be just on the runway going the wrong way. So let's get out of here quickly. There we go. There is our yellow line. Oh, overshot that. Overshot that. It's really hard taxiing with this not functional rudder. I've just got this one pedal to feather. Oh, this is a runway. This is a runway. Wait, no, it's just going the wrong way on a taxiway. Alright, let's bring it right over here between the... I thought this was more of a hangar, but I don't know that it is. So let's just bring it in. I don't think I see any planes in front of me. I think this is more just general parking, but let's go ahead and park her right here. Is this gonna count? It counted. Alright, leg complete. Luckily with our failure we were able to check that off. Thank you guys for sticking through us. I know that this, at least just for me, maybe not for you guys, this was a little bit more of a lingering session than anticipated, lingering series rather than anticipated. But this one session had its own complaints and issues. Luckily we were able to bring the plane down in one piece. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in our next adventure. And until then, have some fun games.